February of 2000, a maid entered the apartment of a respected British headmaster living in Sao Paulo, Brazil. What she discovered was horrifying. 60-year-old Casey McCann was lying on his bed, bound hand and foot, dressed only in his underwear. The scene suggested not just murder, but an intimate betrayal. Who killed Casey McCann? Was it a crime of passion, or was it linked to his controversial past as an anti-cult activist? To this day, the mystery remains unsolved. Michael Thomas M. Casey McCann, often simply known as Casey McCann, was born around 1943 in Wexford, Ireland. His father was British Anglican and his mother Irish Catholic. Bright and ambitious, he studied economics at Trinity College, Dublin, before moving to London in 1965. For more than 2 decades, he worked at Sevenoaks School in Kent, one of Britain's prestigious institutions, serving as both a master and house tutor. In 1991, he even guided Prince Charles and Princess Diana on a tour of the school. Shortly after, he moved to Brazil, where he became headmaster at St. Paul's British School in Sao Paulo. Beyond education, Casey McCann was known internationally for his activism. In the early 1980s, he became deeply involved with Family Action Information Rescue, known as FAIR, a leading British anti-cult organization. His involvement began when 2 of his students joined the Unification Church while in California. Alarmed, McCann and a chaplain flew to San Francisco demanding to see the students. One returned to England, but the other stayed. McCann became increasingly outspoken, claiming that hundreds of British students were being drawn into cults abroad. He co-led FAIR with Lady Daphne Vane, lobbying politicians and academics. Some applauded his commitment, while others accused him of infringing on religious freedoms. Still, McCann believed he was protecting vulnerable young people from manipulation. This activism would define his legacy, and some speculate might have made him enemies. On the morning of February 28, 2000, McCann's maid, Dirce de Oliveira, arrived at his Sao Paulo apartment. Inside, she found a gruesome sight. McCann's body lay on the bed, his hands and feet tied with neckties. He was dressed only in his underwear. The apartment showed signs of a struggle, including a broken whiskey bottle. Investigators determined his death had likely occurred 2 days earlier, on February 26th. Neighbors and a local cafe owner reported seeing McCann with a man on several occasions, someone he was believed to be romantically involved with. Police suspected that this unknown man may have been with McCann on the night of the murder, but despite questioning, the man was never identified. The case went cold almost immediately, leaving more questions than answers. Why was Casey McCann killed? One theory suggests it was a crime of passion. The circumstances, his state of undress, the binding, the suspected presence of a lover, point toward an intimate encounter turned violent. Others believe his death may have been connected to his controversial work as an anti-cult activist. McCann had challenged powerful religious movements and drawn international attention to their practices. Could someone have sought revenge? Another possibility is simple robbery, but this is less likely, as valuables were left untouched. With no suspects and limited forensic evidence, police could never move beyond speculation. The truth remains locked in secrecy, just as it was on that February night. McCann's death shocked both the academic and anti-cult communities. Former colleagues remembered him as a passionate, principled man who dedicated his life to education and to protecting students from manipulation. In Brazil, his murder remains unsolved, with Sao Paulo police closing the investigation due to lack of evidence. More than 2 decades later, his case is listed among unsolved murders worldwide. To this day, those who knew him and those who study his work wonder whether his activism, his personal life, or a hidden enemy sealed his tragic fate. Casey McCann was more than a teacher, more than an activist. He was a man who fought fiercely for what he believed in. But his life ended in a mystery that still haunts investigators and historians alike. Was it betrayal by someone he trusted, or revenge from forces he once challenged? We may never know, but the unanswered questions ensure that the story of Casey McCann will remain one of the most intriguing unsolved murders of our time.